Hey, howdy, y'alls. How y'all doing? It's me, Dr. E, here to help you out with week 6. Uh, yeah, just a reminder, the way everything's structured with these themes and then weeks can get really confusing, so just stay focused on the week. Can't go wrong there. So, week 6, it's where we're at. And, yeah, this week, we dig more into working on your presentation. Gonna watch another TED Talk by Elizabeth Pisani about epidemiology. You're going to be tested about it in our Mind Edge resource, test your understanding. But the real, what should I say? The real lesson in all that is you're going to be evaluating her presentation, right? How she supports her points. And that's really important to pay attention to, okay? Because she has a particular audience, right? And she's tailoring her message to fit that audience. And she's using her research, right? Presenting facts, data, qualitative information about it to convey her message in a meaningful way. Okay? Yeah, so we got a bunch of key concepts this week, which are really all about helping you develop your narrative, incorporating evidence into it, right? Using key tools and strategies. Developing slides. What else? So I'm going to go over some of the key concepts, point out some things you should keep in mind. Don't forget to read the bottom portion of the announcement. I give details on the specific concepts. So kind of take what I'm saying here in addition to what is said there. Excuse me. All right. Excuse me. First up, incorporating evidence. And there's so many different ways you can do this. All right. Data, facts, and figures, interviews, surveys, and questionnaires, quotes, and conclusions from other studies and reports. These are all kind of key resources that you need to put to use. And you got to kind of treat each differently. Let's see here. I should start off with saying, in terms of data, it comes in various forms, all right? Generally speaking, you have what's referred to as quantitative data. It's numbers based, all right, like statistics. And you have qualitative data, which is really kind of sociocultural, psychological. It's the social science perspective, if you would, that explains why things are the way they are. It's the specific kind of social science insight, okay? Key thing here is you need to be balanced, right, in the sorts of evidence that you're going to use to support your points, right? One tendency is just to cherry pick the things that support your singular perspective. Well, that's nice, but it's not good research. All right? Good research is balanced. All right? Good research involves, recognizing your bias, the bias of others, trying to take that into consideration. So the kind of moral of the story here is you want to be balanced. You don't want to just pick things that only show one way or one perspective. I'm not telling you to include a whole other perspective. I'm saying that you should not ignore that there are multiple perspectives. Okay? Right? And recognizing those can be beneficial to you and your research. Interviews, surveys, and questionnaires, quotes, conclusions from other sources. These are great. They can really help underscore your points. What I would caution here is, uh, how to say it. You want to be clear about what is supporting what. Okay, because when you're taking the words of other people, are you actually interpreting them the way they were meant to? Right? Are they out of context? Like that? That can kind of mess with things here. Okay, so yeah, make sure that they align. Here, there we go. Align. um, yeah. Moving on. I got a bit to say about editorializing. Oh, God, that's a hard word for me to say. Editorializing. There we go. All right, what this really gets down to is inherent personal bias. Okay. They refer to it as personal opinion or bias, but I'm going to be even more clear about it from a social science perspective. This is inherent bias, all right? One's personal bias. So, editorializing is where you kind of insert your opinion perspective, your personal, right, into it. And this can have devastating effects. There's a great example here. This is a quote. Okay, I don't know who said this, but it's from a MindEdge resource. A stupid social institution was. This is about marriage. Sorry. A stupid social institution that was invented to keep couples unhappy. Raise any flags? Someone have some baggage? All right. Like, wow. No, don't. Don't do that. It's unwarranted and it shouldn't be there. Okay? However, you can express things like in my perspective, right? And this is only after you've made your point and supported it with evidence. You could say something like, in my personal opinion, I find that these things do not meet my personal needs, or something like that. You see the difference? It's kind of separating it. It's making it clear that this is my personal beef, and I'm separating that. And I would add to that: should you really be including it? Does it really help your point? And if it don't do it. Okay, so it better be a really important personal opinion to insert in there. All right. I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna share a little something extra here for all you social science folk that are gonna pursue a degree in this. Remember this line: all observation is positioned from somewhere. And this is a recognition of inherent bias. All right? It means that no matter who you are, where you come from, how objective you think you can be, you're not. You are fundamentally biased, no matter what. I don't care if you have the cleanest lab conditions in the universe. Any observation that you're doing is through a particular set of eyes, and those eyes are connected to a brain, all right? And that brain has literally been taught to think about things in very specific ways and not others. All right? So yeah, remember the line, all observation is positioned from somewhere. It really underscores inherent bias, personal bias. If you pursue the social sciences, kind of in the upper levels, we get into how we actually deal with it, all right? Because it's a beast. Okay. Moving on to narrative, the mark of a good presentation. All right, think of your narrative as your story. Okay, and we've seen lots of examples here. We got Mark's example. We have all the TED Talks that we've seen. And that's really the point of presenting all of those, that you can see each of these presenters' narratives, all right? Mark uses a very chronological approach, right? I started here, then I went to this, and then this, and then this, right? And his chronological order actually reflects the research process. Okay, that's one of the reasons that we presented it, right? It's actually kind of doing two things at once. So that's one sort of example. However, you've seen other examples that are not chronological, all right? The TED Talks. There is some aspects of chronology in there, but they're not necessarily chronological. In fact, they kind of move around. And you should have seen that that's not bad. All right. In fact, it can be very effective. Those TED Talks were very effective. All right. So yeah, think of it as your script. And you should have been, we've had all of our progress checks along the way, and each of those is designed to help you draft portions of this. Okay. So what I would suggest is you take all those pieces, put them in order, and refine them. All right, take the time. Make sure that your points are clear. You might find like, oh, hey, no, this. I don't want to start it there. All right, that I can kind of touch on later on. So I'm going to move that to a smaller point later. You see what I'm saying? And I'd suggest doing it in a word processing program like Word, right, or Google Docs. Because it helps you think of it as a script, right, as a narrative. Then, right, actually, before I get there, you'll see in the written portion below, there are tips for creating a narrative, okay? I suggest working through them, all right? And there are key tools highlighted in our MindEdge resource, like the hook, the body, the closing. Check out the examples, see how they actually work, right? And apply them, use them. They really help. So when it comes to actually taking your narrative and creating your presentation, we're calling this structuring the narrative. That's what MindEdge calls it. We got a kind of a basic checklist, okay? And it's like point 1 through 7. Okay, I'm not going to go over each of them here in the video. So look below, check them out. All right. This should help you structure. What goes where. Should help you walk through the process. Now we have some tips for creating slides. Specifically, do's and don'ts. You'll notice the lists. The do's, not a lot. Okay, don'ts, much more. Okay, so this is really about what not to do. Don't use fonts that are hard to read. Don't get all hung up on finding the perfect background. It's just going to be a waste of your time. My personal mantra, okay, is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Not calling anybody stupid, but that's the phrase, right? The acronym. Get the fundamental done, right? And then if you have time, go back and pretty it up. first should be functional. All right, get it out. All right, then you can tweak your fonts and your background, and you could have like embedded. What do they call them? Actions, where like your visual slides in from the side, or just like materializes, or whatever. But don't start with getting hung up about all those little things. Start with getting the basics out. And so to do that, you want to make bullet points. You do not want to just slap your narrative into slides, all right? Audiences aren't going to read all that, all right? No. You're going to be speaking it, all right? You want to put up bullets of the key things you were speaking about. It helps the audience like make the connection, okay? But it doesn't bore them to death with having to read all of your narrative. Make sense? Yeah. Don't forget to include APA style citation. I know you all love it. Sorry, I'm being facetious. No joke. Got to do it. It's what a researcher does. Again, I have the APA appendix. I personally think it's the best resource for APA. It's a PDF. You can search for anything you need in it. Lickety split. That's enough about APA. Finally, on to our assignments this week. You got your presentation progress check. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kind of parts to it. I do want to draw your attention. All right, if you look down below, go all the way down to this week's assignments. What does it say? Week 6 assignments. You'll see presentation progress check. I have the questions, all right, posted right there. I also include links to the specific learning blocks from our MindEdge resource that are associated with it. It's the stuff that you need to answer the question. Or to respond to that particular aspect, right? So, question 1: provide a brief overview of the social scientific background of your issue and research question. How is the issue situated within the social sciences? And then, boom, look under that. I have 3 links: one learning block 4.2, page 1; learning block 4.3, page 3; learning block 5.3, page 3. Do note that you'll need to be logged in to SNU and logged into your MindEdge resource for those links to actually function. Note that at the very end of the questions, there's another one that's not really labeled. All right. And it's not really a question. It's that you need to submit 2 slides that you created. Okay. What I would suggest is you upload your response to what is it, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7, right? Those are the specific questions, and submit that as one document, and then submit your slides as another document, right? Both slides in one document. You can use whatever. I tend to suggest PowerPoint, or was it Google has their version of it. Those tend to be the most useful and helpful. All right. I think that covers progress check. Next thing is you got, 4 short responses for this week. And these, unlike others that tend to say in 2 to 3 sentences, these are a little more in depth. Okay, I really want to encourage you all to invest in them. The more you do, the more you get out of it. Like, if you haven't noticed, these questions in our short responses are all about helping you with your project. Okay. Um, yeah. So yeah, it is in your best interest to not skimp on them. All right. Um, okay. 20 minutes. All right. I'll say goodbye. Y'all have a great one, and I'll see you in the discussion boards. Take care. Bye.